So yesterday, when I was editing my Sheepishly Sharing video, I realized that I had rambled on far too long, so I split the video, and this is the second part technically. Yesterday I was sure to include all my finished objects and works in progress and things like that, and today I'm keeping with my goals for 2015. I'm continuing on, and that includes my healthy goals, my organizational goals. And in addition, I have a section where I don't know what to call it. It's where I mention people who have been of some assistance to me. A shout out, if you will. And some of this is yarn related and some of it isn't. So you can decide if you want to stay tuned or not. But I know that some of the parts that aren't are actually things that we all share in common, like those of us who are all pulling together to get organized, and healthy goals, which is so common in January. We want to stick with them. So I am going to try to give you a briefer update in the future on how I'm doing on those things. But I am going to watch it with you. I have my computer right here. I have my tea right here. And this way I can turn the camera on and correct myself, which I wish I could do all the time whenever I watch my videos, or add or enhance, or clarify. So this might be a really good happy accident. So get your tea, get your coffee, get settled, and let's see what's happening in my world. Okay, this is the healthy goals section, and I know many of you have healthy goals at the beginning of the year. January is the #1 time, and I think I've mentioned before, well I know I've mentioned before, but I have a lot of new subscribers that I have a certification in lifestyle and weight management, which is, I'm not a physical trainer, obviously, but I have a lot of nutrition background. So this is important to us, not to mention the fact that the doctors put some healthy goals on me. But I showed you in that goal video that I have these little goal sheets that I keep up with weekly, and I have to say that I thought that I was doing much worse in my healthy goals on a regular basis than I actually was doing. I fixed this in such a way, let me show you. Can you see the top where I have Monday, then you see B for breakfast, L for lunch, D for dinner, S for snack. Some days I don't have a snack. That is so much easier. I've been trying to enter what I eat into my phone, into MyFitnessPal or something like that, to try to keep up with, well, everything. You can keep up with the amount of sugar, your macronutrients, which is fat, carbs, and protein. And you know what? It's too complicated. I am simplifying, remember? So I just print the sheet out, and then if I do well, if I have a gluten-free breakfast, because that's something I have to switch to, is gluten-free. And to be very honest, that's pretty easy, so I don't really need kudos for that. But if I have a gluten-free breakfast, I'll circle the B. And lunch, I'll circle the L. And I can see at a glance how I did. Well, of course, I've got a whole bunch of other goals on here that I'll spare you because everybody's are different and you don't need to know all that. And as I look at it through the week, I'm going, oh my goodness, I did really well overall. You know, it's not perfect, that's for sure. So, you know, what can you do? But putting on my health coach hat, my healthy tip for the week is pick something that you want to change and do it slowly. For example, when I gave up soft drinks, this was 5-6 years ago now, I was very addicted to Diet Coke, and it is addicting, so you can definitely, you know, use that as an excuse because it's a very real thing. I had to wean myself off of it, and I would say for the first 6 months of actually being Diet Coke free, I craved one every day. But I was at the point where I could say, no, I'm not going to do it. And finally one day I said, you know, I'm just going to have one. It's been 6 months, I'm going to do it. And it didn't taste nearly as good as I remembered it. And ever since then, never think about them. Don't want them, don't crave them. So in other words, you have to work yourself to that. You just change your mindset. But don't, I mean, some people can go cold turkey on anything like that. But a lot of people can't. So try it in small steps. And I want to say kudos to Chi Sweets, because she mentioned that. She had commented on my tea making video, which, well, you can watch that if you want to. But she said she was going to start with stevia and green tea this week. And the key words there were this week. Now, I quickly have to jump in here and commend Chi again. She wrote on another comment, she goes, well, she tried it and it must be an acquired taste. She didn't like it. So she is actually going to mix it, and that is another healthy tip. For example, when we were weaning our family off of straight white sugar for our iced tea, which is, Tucker and Thomas love sweet tea all year round. This is a very southern thing, and so I was trying to wean them off of the white sugar, and the only way I could do that was to mix part stevia and part white sugar. And now they're completely into stevia. They prefer that. It's just a way that you wean yourself. You gradually move into a taste change. And it can be done. It is done every day. I'm in the process of doing it now. You just have to be patient with yourself. And that goes back into my healthy goals here by breaking it up in a week. It's like I don't see the long year looming in front of me. I'm taking it one step at a time, 1 week at a time. So that's my healthy tip. Now next is organizational goal section. And I know a lot of people have organizational goals this time of year. I shared with you that I need to declutter again. This is something I need to do periodically because I just let things pile up and totally don't notice it. So I'm following a Facebook group called Declutter 365, and she gives you like a 15-minute mission every day. Well, I've got a big life, and there 15 minutes a day for decluttering is all I'm willing to devote. And it's kind of like the old expression that I really don't like called eating an elephant. How do you do that? One bite at a time. I mean, if you had to eat a whole elephant, you could only do it one bite at a time, and eventually the job gets done. So that's true with this decluttering commotion. And you know what else is one little thing at a time? That is knitting and crochet. Isn't it? One stitch at a time, and then you end up with this wonderful finished project. I have other organizational goals on my list here, but I won't share that with you because that's generally probably not why you tuned in. But I will tell you that some of more in our yarn community, we're doing it together. Zoe, 24 Carat Crochet, and Jan Carruthers, we've been kind of texting each other pictures of our accomplishments, like, look at all this that I pulled out of this drawer and whatnot. As a matter of fact, look at this that came out of my food storage Tupperware cabinet. That's ridiculous, isn't it? You know, extra tops, lids, you know, for containers that are long gone and things like that. You just don't realize that you accumulate them in there, so you have to clean them out. At least people who think like me. You naturally organized people, you don't get this. Now, this is something interesting. One day I was cleaning out 6 kitchen drawers. And so I had these different bags. I had the throwaway bag and I had the donate bag. And I decided to weigh them. And I took out 4.8 pounds of things from 6 kitchen drawers that were either trash or donated. 4.8 pounds. It just gives me a, would you say motivation? I'm not sure. It's just fun, you know. So after I put my bags, and this is taking, you know, minimum 15 minutes. No, maximum 15 minutes. I really don't do it over that. And then I'll run to the bathroom scale and I'll weigh these things, and it's just kind of amazing. On Friday, I cleaned out these other cabinets in the kitchen. Well, actually, you come in from the garage and you walk into the kitchen and there's this little hallway thing, so I guess it's part of the kitchen. And out of there, I took 10.8 pounds of stuff that's either trash or donated. So that was fun. And I get bonus points because I cleaned out my car. And there wasn't really anything to weigh there because I do, as a regular basis, take the trash out. But it needed a good vacuuming and, you know, dusting and all that kind of stuff. So that wasn't even on the list. So I get bonus points for that. Now, I have to say to Eva Board, who commented on one of my videos, she said, "Your house always looks so shiny and clean." Well, I'm going to come clean to you right here and now, Eva, and everybody. When I set up the camera, when I'm in the house, I look in the viewfinder and I see what you can see. And 9 times out of 10, I will shove things out of the way so that you don't have to look at it. And you'll notice there's times when I haven't done that and there's things sitting around or whatever, but and there are some times when I actually did clean the kitchen up. So, but for the most part, my house is not always shiny and clean. But thank you, Eva, for for making me feel like I'm not showing you all my junk. As a matter of fact, I did that very thing just this minute. So I looked to see what you could see, and mostly it was some stuff that was all over on that cabinet, and I cleaned it up. Only this time, many times I'm guilty of just shoving it out of the way, but this time I actually put everything back where it belonged. So that's a check mark for me in my organizational goals. Okay, the organizational tip of the week is this. It's a game I used to play with myself. And again, you naturally organized people are going to think this is ludicrous. You're going to think it's so stupid. But I play this game, I call it Think 3. And before you can leave one room and go to another, you have to do 3 things in that room to make it better, to improve it in some way. And I count even the smallest things, like picking up a tissue. Because again, little things add up, and the job eventually gets done. And I even taught it to my family, and sometimes I can get Thomas to play along with me too. A word about Thomas real quick. If you notice, you haven't seen him in any of my videos, and he used to be my comic relief for so long, but he's 13, soon to be 14, and so now he's kind of outgrown the interaction on camera with Mom. But in that same vein, with that age, getting him to clean up is sometimes a major ordeal, and he's much more likely to grab that cup he left out, you know, I don't know, a deck of cards, whatever, if I just look at him real quick and say, "Hey, think 3. And he's much more likely to do that than if I say, "Thomas, would you please pick up your stuff?" And, you know, the way I used to do it all the time. It's just a game, just a different way to do things. And I don't have a clever name for any of these sections of my video that I'm talking about. But now I want to mention specific people. So I guess we could call it a shout out or something, I'm not sure, but people who have helped me in some way. And I have said this over and over again in all my videos, that this is the best thing I ever did. I have learned so much from you people, and of course gained the friendships too through this, which is great. But let me share a little bit of what I've learned. Amy Pinkelman she watched my Crafty Goals, and she commented that in order to help you go through these paid patterns that you have, because remember I'm trying to use some of the ones I've already paid for, she says, remember you can enter it into your Ravelry library. And I did know that, and I had some of them entered, but not a whole lot. But then again, I don't own a whole lot of magazines and books. So I thought, that is a great idea. Thank you for reminding me, Amy. So I did it. So sure enough, you can search your own personal library for the patterns. So if I'm looking for a hat or whatever, all the ones I already own are going to pop up in my search. So I thought that was really helpful, and I did take the time to do it, so thank you, Amy. And then secondly, I think I'm saying this right, Loreyla, L-O-R-E-Y-L-A, she left this comment regarding my salt dough ornaments, in that she had a different recipe. I'm not going to explain about the salt dough ornaments right here, but essentially after I did them and they dried hard as a rock, and I sprayed them with the sealer and left them in the garage to dry, the sealer to dry. The ornaments were already dry, and it was so humid that they absorbed this water and you could bend them after that. So I had to throw them away because that's just a recipe for mold and mildew. Not that I really liked them anyway. It wasn't a very pleasant thing. However, and I suspected this to be true, I think a different recipe could remedy that. And she had told me of the recipe. I think it involved glue, like your regular household glue. I forget what you call it in the UK, but we usually say Elmer's glue. So I go back to look for that recipe and it was gone. So I think she deleted it or something, but that was a really good tip, and I thank you. So leave me another message telling me what that recipe was, because I want to keep it in the back of my mind. I didn't get really excited about making those. It was a lot of work, but it's still, I can see myself doing this in the future when I have more kids around, more activity and stuff. So anyway, moving on. Once upon a time, I tried to dye acrylic yarn with acrylic paint, and I followed the instructions from a YouTube user called Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter. I don't know how to say her last name, Weirich, I think. And she demonstrated how she did it. And I was just curious about the yarn dyeing process, and I didn't want to buy any nice wool yarn and then totally screw it up. So I thought, hey, this is a way I can get a taste of this. So I found some yarn that I really didn't care anything about, and I didn't like, actually. And then used the acrylic and followed her instructions and got a taste of what the dyeing process was all about. But it didn't hold the color very well. But there's a video. Dyeing acrylic yarn is what it's called, if you want to see my experience. However, Lindsay left this message for it. She said, mine worked very well, because when I washed it, all the color went away. It was just like very faded color. She said, I let it dry out by my wood stove. I wonder if it heat set it for me. Could be. I did not wash it right away. Maybe pop it in the dryer on high before you wash it to heat set it. Didn't think about that at the time. Mine is nice and bright, but I let it dry for days and then knit it up later, and it was fine. I'm so sorry it didn't work well. I wonder if the brand of paint was different quality of binders, etc. She's got a point. I'm sorry it didn't work well for you. The color were really different when you were done, and I did not have that shift. Maybe the paint takes longer to cure than the time you allotted. And as I said, mine had dried sometime before it, and more time before knitting and washing. So I think she's right on the nose. I did not wait at all. I just let it dry, and I knitted up a hat. It was probably within 24 or 48 hours that I washed it. So that very well could have been the problem. So I thank Lindsay. I don't know if she watches all my videos. She probably just saw that I had tagged her on that one. But I thank her for that heads up in case somebody else wants to give it a go. I think I mentioned to you that last week I was trying to be organized by recording a quick clip as I thought of it. And here were two more people that I want to mention that I'm going to insert right here. Now, also in my last video, I had done a crochet hat, and this was very unlike me. I had lost the pattern. Couldn't find it, couldn't tell you what the pattern was. And luckily, Jen, who is Ms. Krasinski on YouTube, no, it's Ms. Krusky, found it for me. Not only did she find it, but she made two hats from the pattern. It's called the Cool Stripes hat, and I'll put the link in the description box. But I'm also going to put another link in the description box. When you click, if you find this on Ravelry and you click on it, it's going to be a dead link. So remember, I'm a techie person, so I threw in a techie tip, and that's a separate video that I did too last week, to show you what happens. You still have hope when you come across a pattern or whatever link you want, and it is a dead link. There's still an option, and so I'll give you instructions on how to do that in that link with that pattern, as a matter of fact. So it is available. And now I have to do a special shout out to Emily, who's crochet.knit on YouTube. She started knitting the same time I did. And you should see what this woman is putting out. She made herself the cutest little sweater. She is, oh gosh, I can't even remember what all she impressed the stew out of me with. But I don't know how she does it. So she's just a natural. So Emily, good job. I mean, I really have to applaud your skills there. So that's all I've got this week. Hopefully I'll be on time next week with another video, so that life doesn't get in the way. In the meantime, if you're doing Yarn Fast or organizational goals or anything like that with me, let me cheer you on, because it feels good to find success. Yes, I could do better in each one of my categories, but it just feels good for the progress that I have made. So I'm going to encourage you, and you encourage me, and we'll go from there. So until then, talk to you later. Bye.